A huge challenge you're going to encounter as a new manager is managing your own time. You're going to have a lot more meetings than you used to, and somehow you need to find time to get through it all. You're going to have one-on-one meetings with the people on your team. You'll have meetings with your whole team, meetings with your management, meetings with other managers. It adds up really fast. Add recruiting to it, doing interviews and things like that, and your week's gone pretty much right away with all meetings. How do you get anything done? So the answer does not have to be working 80-hour work weeks. And like I said before, you don't want to be setting that kind of example for your team anyway. So it really comes down to effective time management for getting through this. So I'm going to tell you how I did it back when I was in this role and when I was in your position. And, I don't really have a fancy system or anything like that. A lot of people ask me how I got so much accomplished, and it's actually surprisingly simple. So let me talk you through my secrets here for time management, because really that is going to be your superpower as a good manager. A lot of it comes down to inbox management. And, I know that email is kind of on the decline, but same principles apply to instant messages or however you communicate, Slack, whatever it is, right? You just got to stay on top of the incoming communication somehow. So this is actually an actual screenshot of my email inbox right now. And, even though I'm not a technical manager right now, I am running my own company, actually 2 companies, and I got a lot of email still. But Inbox Zero is something that I really, really work hard to maintain. And it's really key to your sanity and your productivity as well. Let's talk about how that works, just staying on top of those emails whenever you can. The goal is to keep your queue of incoming messages to 0. And there's a lot of benefits to doing this. Psychologically, it's really good to know that you don't have anything looming ahead of you and all these sort of mysterious messages where there might be some horrible problem waiting for you that you don't even know about. It really reduces your stress to know that you're really caught up right now and you're aware of all the situations around you. Also, if you are responsive and really staying on top of your messages, that's going to reflect well on you and on your entire team. You're going to be more responsive than your peers are. And that's going to make you look good to everybody that's involved. If someone's trying to get a hold of you or get an answer from you, if they get an answer from you quickly, as opposed to someone else who doesn't respond at all, or maybe a week from now, you're going to be the better manager in that case. You're going to come out looking better. Also, you'll be operating with current information all the time. Things change very frequently. And as a manager, you need that information to make good decisions, right? So if somebody's asking you, hey, can you take on this new project? And you don't know that these 3 people on your team just got redirected to something else, you might make a bad decision there. So lots of reasons to stay on top of your email. And again, yes, I know email is on the way out, but it's still an important tool for communicating outside of companies. Whatever you use for messaging, though, doesn't have to be email. I think these same ideas still apply. So how does it work? Here's, I don't actually have this flow chart. I know this is my first time creating it. It's just sort of a on paper version of how I actually approach my email and what works for me. So here's how it works. Start off with email arriving, right? And I just check it, when I can, but in between meetings, whenever I have an opportunity to stay on top of it. First question I ask is this spam? Too often it is, right? If so, I don't just delete it, I unsubscribe first, so I never see that again. And that is really key to keeping your email under control. So it used to be that unsubscribing was a bad idea. I don't think that's true anymore. Most people actually do respect that unsubscribe link. Then delete it. You never have to look at it again. Okay, it's not spam. Maybe it's something I have to do. Is there actually something actionable in this message where I need to do something in response to it? If it's not actionable, it's just some piece of information that somebody's sharing, acknowledge it if you have to, if that's appropriate, and then archive it. You probably have some sort of archive folder in your email software. If not, create one, just a place to stuff stuff away so you can actually find it later and refer to it later. That assumes you have some sort of a good search functionality in your email client. Most of them do, right? So acknowledge it and archive it. If it is something you have to do, if it is actionable, in that case, you need to ask yourself, well, can I do this right away? Is this something I can do today? If so, then I just keep it in my inbox as a reminder to get it done. And, just seeing that in my inbox bothers me because I try to maintain inbox 0. So that serves as an incentive for me to finish it and resolve that action as soon as possible. When I do it, I will follow up and say, okay, I did it. Here it is. And then I archive it again so I can search for that conversation later on if I need to. If it is a bigger thing that needs to be done that cannot be done right away, then I will either add it to my to-do list or I will schedule time with myself to get it done later on. Always good to schedule time if you can to actually make sure it gets done and to make sure that you've carved off the time to get it done. All right, so that's usually preferable. For things that are just more strategic in nature, maybe a to-do list is more appropriate. We'll talk about that more. If that is the case, where you're going to have to do it later, respond to the email, set expectations of when you will do it, and then again, archive it. It's not been lost. It's on your to-do list. It's in your calendar, so it will get done. And when it's done, you'll respond and say, hey, I did it. Here it is. This simple system is very effective for me. And I just go through this mentally automatically. It's second nature to me by now. So by doing this whenever I can in between meetings or whatnot, my inbox stays at zero, and I'm responsive. People appreciate that, right? I get back to them. I get stuff done. I don't lose track of things I have to do. And more importantly, I don't have to worry about the list of things I have to do because I know this is all being tracked somewhere. I know there's a meeting for me to do this. I know there's something on my to-do list. So I don't have to waste all this space in my head trying to keep track of all the demands on my time that are accruing. And that's really quite liberating. And ultimately, it helps you to think more clearly. Let's talk about that to-do list. I know a lot of people have kind of fancy software for this, but I just used a whiteboard. And, if you're doing something sensitive, maybe you shouldn't put it on a whiteboard, but usually it can just go on a whiteboard. If you want, you can just use a little text document somewhere, Google Docs, whatever it is, any place where you can put notes for yourself. Just have a to-do list somewhere. It does not have to be fancy software where you spend all this effort prioritizing stuff and categorizing stuff. That's just a waste of time, honestly. And like I said before, often it's better to just schedule a meeting than to put it on your to-do list. So if it is something you can do in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, schedule that time out when you have some free time you can block off and respect that. Actually do it during that time. That's even better than a to-do list because it means you know exactly when you're going to do it and you will do it. Personally, I use a to-do list for things that are not time-bound at all, things that are a little bit more longer term or, good ideas of things to do later on. But if it is something that needs to get done by a certain time, then I will tend toward creating a meeting for myself to make sure it gets done on time. And again, it's just a psychological benefit to all this too. By knowing that you have a record of all your current responsibilities, you don't have to waste any mental power worrying about it. It just puts you at ease. It's hard to describe, but knowing that you have no messages piling up, knowing that all of your current commitments are stored away somewhere and you're going to do them, it really is liberating. It lets you think about other stuff and focus on the strategic aspects of your job and not just, oh my God, how am I going to get all this done? So it avoids being overwhelmed, and being overwhelmed is, again, a common failure mode for new managers. So those are my very simple secrets of how to stay on top of all of this. It is going to be a big challenge to you as a new manager, how to get everything done in between all these meetings. But if you follow these processes, it should be manageable. And let's talk about how to make that happen next.